What's up, my comic comrades? Recently, we saw the Venom symbiote take over Wolverine in What If Venom issue 2. And while this isn't the first time we've seen a Venomized Wolverine, this story and issue is dope, so let's dive in. The issue starts off in Chinatown, where we see Sabretooth walking into a bar. Once he walks in, we see he's there for Logan, aka Wolverine. And he doesn't even have to turn around. He can smell Sabretooth's scent and says whatever deal you had going on with the Triads has been voided. Word on the street is that my old pal Sabretooth was stupid enough to try to sell an alien to the highest bidder. He then turns around staring at Sabretooth saying, hand over the goods and I'll let you leave here without a limp. Sabretooth looks at him saying, that's a lot of talking you're doing, Runt. A lot of talking for a dead man. And of course the bar brawl begins with Logan taking out his claws saying, running your payday with the Triads clearly has you more on edge than usual, bub. Sabretooth just grabs Logan by the wrist, stopping one of his punches saying, Xavier and his cult have really done a number on Logan. Heroism is a scam. How do I know? Because only suckers do work for free. Well, Logan just jumps back up and stabs Sabretooth right in the chest, but Sabretooth has just as good, if not a better healing factor than Logan. So he just grabs his wrist and pulls the claws out of his chest while saying, you're pathetic, headbutting Logan to the floor. Sabretooth then proceeds to stomp Logan's face into the floor saying, you and me might share a few things in common, but the difference between us, only one of us is haunted by our past. As he turns around and starts walking away. But of course, Wolverine is not done, so he jumps up and slashes at Sabretooth, cutting open his backpack, releasing the Venom symbiote Sabretooth has been carrying this whole time. But not only is the Venom symbiote released, it starts immediately bonding with Wolverine as Sabretooth says, now this right here was worth wrangling that creepy goop. Your brain has gone to mush, Runt. The Triads didn't hire me. My real employer wants something that money can't buy. Wolverine asks, what are you talking about? As the symbiote continues to bond with him. Sabretooth says, chaos. You weren't hunting me. I was hunting you. Hope you choke on it. As Logan pleads, Creed, help me. But Sabretooth leaves and Venom continues to bond with Wolverine and starts speaking to him saying, hello, Logan. Because of Victor, we were nothing more than a severed appendage, but your healing factor makes us whole again. At this point, the police show up saying, hands where we can see them. Logan tells Venom, get out of my head, but it answers, too late for that, Logan. Think I'll stay a while. But Logan says, again, no, I said out. Make me, if you can, as it essentially traps Logan's consciousness in his haunted thoughts from the past, like his Weapon X days. Back in the bar outside of Logan's mind, we see Venom fully bonded with Wolverine, giving us the Venomized version of him. And I gotta say, it looks pretty awesome and terrifying. He then ejects his claws saying, now we feast, as the cops begin to unload gunfire on him, but of course, it does absolutely nada. Logan, trapped in his thoughts and consciousness, is forced to look at Venom controlling his body, with Venom saying, such a strong body, a shame it can't protect your broken mind. Try not to have too much fun while I'm gone. Logan says, when I get out of here, you're dead. Do you hear me? But Venom could care less as he's having too much fun taking out the cops. After this, Venom goes out in the city, scaling buildings, looking on people below, saying, with Logan trapped in a cage of his own trauma, we are free and answer to no one. As he looks at the civilians below while hanging off the side of a building, he licks his lips saying, delicious morsels everywhere. So if you haven't caught on, a Venom Wolverine hybrid is one of the deadliest things you could think of. I mean, just think about all the stuff Peter Parker was able to do bonded with the Venom symbiote. Organic webbing, shape-shifting, filtering out toxins and poisons in the air, and obviously way more violent. Wolverine is already extremely violent, so when bonded with Wolverine, dude is gonna go berserker mode. Violence is going to be a whole other level, straight up eating people, not to mention the power upgrades it gives him. But back in Logan's consciousness, he tells himself, this can't be real. I escaped Weapon X, right? Stop it. Trips down memory lane are nothing but dead ends. Quit thinking and start punching. Claws won't help me thanks to that damn parasite. Still have my strength though, as he breaks out of the chamber he was trapped in, but he's greeted by Weapon X security, and he tells himself, you were ambushed by Sabretooth, who planned for you to bond with the alien organism on behalf of his client. Remember what Charles said about trauma loops. Just focus on my reality to break free from them. And with that, he's finally able to use his claws, which are still bone claws, in his consciousness. But outside of his mind, Venom is having a good old time using his body, saying to himself, we like this host. An indestructible body wrapped around a broken mind, far superior to the rest of the species. This city is vast, possibilities endless. We must think bigger if we want to bend it to our will. But we're hungry, always hungry. Snack now, domination later. As he eyes a car running from the police, he says, perfect, and jumps right on top of the car. He pulls the dude who's running from the cops out of the car and says, time for our reward, as he literally eats the guy with people watching in shock as a girl is there videoing a human getting eaten by an alien, because of course she is. Back in Logan's consciousness, we're seeing he's still trying to take control of his body once more. As he's back in the containment chamber of Weapon X, he says the alien thinks he has trapped me here, but it forgets that a wild animal will do anything to set itself free. Time to kill my way out of this mind prison, and this time, I'm leaving out the front door. As he's able to get his metal claws back, he says, you've messed with the wrong animal, bub. Venom, then perched on top of a cathedral, says, Peter Parker abandoned us, but then we found Jennifer Walters. referring to bonding with She-Hulk in the first issue of this series. He continues to say, if only we had found Logan instead, we wouldn't have lost a piece of us. Then again, to ensure our survival, sacrificing a piece of us was necessary. Doesn't matter now, we're stronger than before, but as he says that, Wolverine punches through his chest saying, hey bub, miss me? You've been driving long enough, it's my turn to steer the demented ship. This causes Venom to fall off the top of the cathedral and hit the ground with Logan able to come out of the Venom symbiote. But that's the last of Venomized Wolverine, as the last few pages of the issue tie into the greater series. We're here just to talk about Venom Wolverine, and I honestly wish we got to see more of this, as it's a really fascinating concept. I would be totally into a series that followed Wolverine willingly bonding with the Venom symbiote like Eddie does and then becoming the ultimate lethal protector. We have people trade and take up different mantles all the time in the Marvel Universe, and this could be a winner. Why not have Logan become the new host for Venom? Again, not just for like 1 or 2 issues, but for a solid period in main continuity. I feel like that would be super interesting, a story where Venom bonds with Wolverine, one of the greatest hunters and killers in all of Marvel, and because of this, they initially stop all the bad guys. But then, as time goes on, we realize Venom and Wolverine being bonded together isn't such a great thing because they're both feeding off their suppressed hunter and killer ways that they've been able to tame over the last few years. Eventually, they would just go full AWOL with the Marvel Universe having to stop them. I'm talking about this being a full-on crossover event for Marvel, and you could call the event something like Hunters Within, alluding to their suppressed old ways. Now, both Wolverine and Venom are no angels, but again, I'm referring to them no longer holding back. Bonded together, they would become totalitarian, being like, it's my way or the highway. So I think it would be a really cool event. Plus, the sheer cool factor of Logan bonding with Venom has always been fun, as we have seen this in short bursts throughout the years. Another example of Venomized Wolverine was an Edge of Venomverse issue 4 when Old Man Logan bonds with the Venom symbiote. In the issue, believe it or not, he takes the Venom symbiote from a T-Rex. Once bonded with Old Man Logan, Venom says, this power, it's like nothing I've ever felt. I'm with you now, Logan. Let's tear these fools apart, referring to Bruce Banner Jr. and Archangel. Bruce Banner Jr. is like, I'm not fighting off Venom Wolverine, that's not happening, and picks up Archangel by the wings, throwing him towards Logan, saying, you wanted to make sure Logan was dead? Now is your chance. I'm out, as he runs away. Archangel says, Banner, you coward, as he shoots his bladed feathers at Logan, but he's got Venom now, so the symbiote just catches them and throws them right back at Archangel, taking him down for the count. Logan then goes for Bruce Banner Jr., saying, do you think you can try to kill me and walk away after everything I did for you? He then basically subdues Bruce Banner Jr. in Hulk form and is about to put his claws right through his face when he's stopped by Captain America, or Venom Captain America. But do you see what I'm saying? Every time we get Venom Wolverine, it's just complete and utter badassery, so why not give us a full-blown event around it where it's just Wolverine and Venom causing havoc? You're literally just putting 2 of the coolest and most loved Marvel characters together. But what do you all think of Venomized Wolverine? And would you want to see a full event centered around him? Let us know down in the comments. And since we're on the topic, a little while back in Marvel's Dark Ages miniseries, Miles Morales became a Venom Carnage Hybrid. So how about some bonus content? Off we go. Issue 5 starts off with us seeing our heroes bury Nick Fury, who was killed last issue. And as Spider-Man, Wolverine, Nightcrawler, and the rest are having a funeral for their fallen friend, Deadpool comes up saying, hey, welcome to Europe. Before I bring out my standard hats and accents, I just want to gauge how everyone feels about cultural stereotypes. Gabby then turns around saying, Wade. He says, Gabby, what's with you being all serious? Did someone die or something? She just looks at him saying, yeah, Nick Fury. He replies, oh hey, I'm sorry. Fury was one of the good ones. We are then taken to Apocalypse's headquarters in Paris, where he asks Tony Stark, who's being controlled by the Purple Man, can it be done? Stark replies, I understand what you want, but I need to see the size of the problem. Apocalypse tells him, I will show it to you. I will teleport you and protect you down there. Kilgrave. He responds, Apocalypse, I really don't like going down there. But Apocalypse just stares at Kilgrave, with Kilgrave ultimately saying, but I will, of course. Spider-Man then narrates, telling us as we ready to head to France, Apocalypse took our mind enslaved friends to the center of the earth, to where the Unmaker slept, to where our friends had fallen. At the center of the earth, the mind-controlled heroes see Doctor Strange's corpse, but are told, don't touch Strange. His body has decayed, but his magical wards remain in place. Mr. Fantastic then says, my hypothesis is a neutron star lies inside there, giving off a constant electromagnetic pulse. Stark replies, that's a good working theory. We could poke our head in and take a look. If we felt like being torn apart by a gravitational pull comparable to a black hole. How long do you need, Apocalypse? And he says to inhabit it, to take control of a power beyond that even of a celestial or a god, I would not need long. Minutes perhaps, an hour. Beast says, contain the power of a neutron star for an hour? Apocalypse says, I ask again, can it be done? Stark replies, it's impossible, but I'm always up for a challenge. Spider-Man narrates saying Tony's mind had begun turning. The clock was ticking. We had to reach France. There was just one problem. As we see his daughter May and Luke and Jessica's daughter Danny. Spider-Man then says, they can't come with us. Deadpool then interrupts saying, really great responsibility? It's like your whole thing. It would be pretty damn irresponsible for you to leave your kids behind in a refugee camp. After this, Peter finds out that Storm is not sailing back to Wakanda. No, she's staying because she says they need every advantage they can get against Apocalypse. She continues to say, if we free Europe, if we end the tyrant, the refugee crisis ends too. The last great threat to Wakanda and the world is removed. I'm coming with you. After this, Peter realizes that his daughter may have to go with him, which makes him incredibly irritated. Dr. Doom then tries to give his 2 cents on the situation, but Peter ultimately says, you know what? I'm not up for taking parenting advice from Dr. Doom. At this point, Deadpool says, then it's settled. Family road trip to the Heart of Darkness, to the Deadmobile. As Deadpool shows them he's got a double-decker bus, Pepper Potts then asks, why are you our tour guide through Europe? Deadpool replies, simple, I've been beaten, stabbed, and shot in every part of this continent. I am an expert in the places to avoid. All aboard? Spider-Man then narrates, we set out to save the world, heroes and a villain, Avengers and mutants, children and a dinosaur. Deadpool was our tour guide. When night fell, they stopped in a forest away from major roads. But Gabby, Wolverine, and Blade smell something in the forest. Wolverine even says, something is hunting us. So Blade says, then let's go hunt the hunter quietly. The female Wolverine then says, above us, in the trees, get ready to, as something impales her right through the torso. Gabby then says, Laura, and Blade then uses a sword to cut through the tentacles that impaled Laura. The mysterious being then targets the rest of the group with Dr. Doom saying, stay together, stay with the fire. Danny then says, Mom, and May answers saying, don't worry, Danny, there's nothing to be scared of. I don't sense anything. Peter narrates saying, we all knew a whole lot of danger was coming our way, but May was right, we couldn't feel it. I knew what kind of danger could evade our spider sense. And that's when I thought I knew what Moon Girl's light was about to reveal. I thought wrong, it was a whole lot worse than I could have imagined, as Moon Girl's light reveals Venom and Carnage, 2 symbiotes joined together around one host. The Venom Carnage Hybrid then attacks Devil Dinosaur, and Devil Dinosaur put the symbiotes in his mouth and then spits it out. At this point, Peter starts shooting webs at it while Deadpool starts shooting it, with captions from Spider-Man saying, we were caught off guard by a hybrid nightmare sent by Apocalypse, but once we knew what we were fighting, the nightmare didn't stand a chance. As Pepper Potts says, move. Spider-Man continues to narrate saying, 2 symbiotes are afraid of fire against an Iron Woman powered by a furnace. She then blasts the symbiotes with fire, causing Venom and Carnage to leave its host. At this point, Storm flies in the air saying, Sue, shield everyone. Peter continues to narrate saying, 2 burning, frightened aliens losing their host and afraid of loud noises, against a woman who was once thought to be the goddess of thunder. As Storm quite literally brings down the thunder, Peter goes on to say, the night could have gone so badly, but we didn't lose anyone. And when the smoke clears from the thunder and lightning, it reveals that Miles Morales was the host for Venom and Carnage. Peter then says, we gained a friend, while picking up Miles saying, hey, we've got you, man. It's gonna be okay. Miles then says, no, listen, nothing is going to be okay. I heard it. I heard it all. I know how Apocalypse is going to end the world. And with that, let's jump into issue 6. Issue 6 starts off with Miles Morales explaining what happened, saying, Venom and I found each other after the world went dark. I think in those early days, we kept each other alive. It worked out for a while, until Carnage came. And then the 2 of them, whispering in my mind, I lost myself, Pete. Doom then says, why would symbiotes work for Apocalypse? Miles replies, because he told them what no one else knows, because of what he promised them, because of what he plans to do. He's working to stop the EMP. That's why he's kidnapped all those inventors. There's going to be a moment when the power comes back on, and he promised the symbiotes a ship and an escape from the planet before he destroys it. We are then taken back to Apocalypse and his enslaved heroes, where Tony Stark is showing Dr. Octopus Captain America's shield. Doc Ock asks, how did you think of this, Stark? He tells them, it's all I've been thinking about since the power went out. I spent years experimenting with alchemy. I used every metal I could work with to block out the pulse, but I didn't have the means to work with the best. Beast then asks, Reed, have you run the calculations? He replies, yes. The sphere Tony has devised would crack under the stress of the portal. Magneto will not survive at the center, but I believe it would hold for long enough. Stark then says we surround the portal with a blend of metals to deflect and absorb the electromagnetism, with the strength to hold it all together. Reed can create something to break down the shield, but I also need pure adamantium. So unless you have some lying around somewhere, and Apocalypse replies with an evil grin, I do. I have some adamantium buried beneath us. As we see, Apocalypse is keeping the OG Logan Wolverine buried beneath him in a tunnel somewhere. Apocalypse then teleports in with Cyclops and Kilgrave confronting Wolverine. Kilgrave then uses his mind control to force Cyclops to use his optical blast to fry the flesh off Wolverine's bones. Captions from Spider-Man say,
say, Wolverine's bones were coated with adamantium. But everything holding him together, his muscles, his tendons, not so much. It's a pretty gnarly page, Wolverine going out like a Bamf charging Cyclops. But it doesn't matter, the flesh is literally melted off his body. After this, Apocalypse returns to Stark, throwing Wolverine's adamantium skull at him, saying, "You have your adamantium," as we also see Wolverine's adamantium-laced skeleton hovering above them. Apocalypse then asks, "How long?" Stark replies, "Reed can whip up a molecular deconstructor pretty quickly, and it shouldn't take long once the metal is in a form I can work with." Apocalypse says, "Begin now," at which point Dr. Octopus says, "Apocalypse, could I have a word?" The two then go for a walk, and Apocalypse asks, "What is it, Octavius?" He tells him everything Stark has devised should work, but there's one very big hole in the plan. If you move your mind into the Unmaker, I can't guarantee your current powers would work. You may not be able to teleport out. The only way out would be to break the planet apart. Apocalypse replies, "Yes, and the problem with that is?" Octavius replies, "It's the planet we're all standing on." Apocalypse then says, "You're a bit too clever, Otto. I can't have someone so clever trying to think his way out of this." At which point, Apocalypse uses his powers to literally rip Dr. Octopus in half. We then see Spider-Man and gang finally make it to Paris, with Peter narrating, saying 1 hour until the paradise we made would be gone forever. Fortunately, we had an unlikely pair of bus buddies, the most innovative mind on the planet brainstorming with the most ruthless. As we see Moon Girl and Dr. Doom devise a plan to take out Apocalypse. Peter continues narrating the comic, saying Miles and Devil Dinosaur were in no condition for an assault, so they were asked to look after the kids. Everyone knew their part, the plan was set, as we see Storm use her powers to attack Apocalypse's hideout. Apocalypse says, "Get Magneto prepared and do not stop building. Kilgrave, the cells, let them out." Peter continues narrating, saying Stark's fear was almost ready. Apocalypse was moments away from ending the world. We all knew the plan, and we thought we knew what we were up against. We had no idea what we were up against. As we see, Apocalypse is using a mind-controlled Captain America, Beast, Cyclops, Captain Marvel, She-Hulk, and more. And on the next page, a battle ensues for the fate of the planet. But during the battle, Kilgrave says, "That's it, kill them. Kill them all." Split there, and on the next page we see Kilgrave get shot right through the head by Deadpool nonetheless. Gabby then says Jess and Luke were going to knock him unconscious. That was the plan. Deadpool replies, "I didn't hear the plan. I was driving the bus." "Oh man, Jess, I feel like I've robbed you from so much needed catharsis here. You want to kick his corpse a bit, or?" Peter then narrates the scene, saying, with Deadpool going full Deadpool, Kilgrave's influence was removed, and suddenly we had allies, outside and in, as we see all the heroes are no longer mind-controlled. At this point, Peter tells us Apocalypse was about to destroy our friends. He was about to travel to the center of the Earth with a sphere Tony had devised. Once he teleported, we wouldn't be able to reach him. The world would be broken apart. With his power, nothing could stop him. And that's when Dr. Doom and Moon Girl's full plan came into effect. That's when Sue Storm was unleashed, as we see her walking in with her fellow heroes saying, You kidnapped my husband and my child. You took Johnny." Apocalypse then says, "I can't feel my power. I can't reach it." Sue, with her hand extended using her power, says, "That would be the small force field I've put around your frontal lobe." Peter then narrates, saying Nightcrawler was able to teleport Apocalypse's protective armor away. Moon Girl's idea was to permanently sever Apocalypse's mind from his abilities, to give him just a little lobotomy. But that wasn't enough for Doom, and he had his own plan he neglected to share. As we see Dr. Doom say, "Now, Vlad." Peter then says Victor Von Doom thought of a way to end Apocalypse, as we see that he was turning Apocalypse into a vampire, as Vlad, or Dracula, bites him on the neck. Vlad then says, "Doom told me what you were planning, and Sabanor, you betrayed me. Now you are one of us. You will be mine forever." Peter then continues to narrate, saying, "How do you destroy an indestructible man? By manipulating a monster into making him destructible, by making him a vampire." At which point we see Blade come flying in with the swords, decapitating both Apocalypse and Dracula. As Peter says, "At that exact point in time, I was really glad we left the kids with the dinosaur." As Blade looks over at both Dracula and Apocalypse's severed heads, he says, "Forever's a long time." At this point, Sue Storm reunites with Franklin, Pepper Potts reunites with Tony, Beast and Nightcrawler retrieve Magneto, and everything is set right. As Peter narrates, saying, "Who says a post-apocalyptic world has to be a bad thing? Forget your barren wastelands, your fashion dominated by leather and skulls, and the all-too-common problem of roving cannibals. After the fall of our civilization came something better," as we see our heroes walking into the sunset, starting a new life.
And that does it for this episode of Variant My People. Be sure to hit us up with your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, we'd be grateful for a like, share, and subscribe. Otherwise, we'll see you next time when I talk about all things comics.